Welcome to the Leader Mentality Show with Rob Clemens. We are on scene over at a very cool place. It's Palmetto Protection Films over here at Myrtle Beach. And I'm kind of burying the lead a little bit here because I've got the owner of Palmetto Protection Films, Kristy Yelle. Everybody knows you. Kristy, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Rob.
Oh man, it's so good. We've been talking about doing this for like 2 years straight. So now we're finally making it happen.
We're busy.
I'm pumped. Yeah, well, we're busy people. Well, listen. One thing, and we talked about this before, I wanted to dive into today because Kristy, you're a business owner, running a thriving business here, but if you're listening to the show and you're in business, if you've ever put together a game plan, we have to know how to adapt and we have to know how to navigate when the plan doesn't go completely to plan. So if you're out there today listening to this show, I want you to think about that a little bit. Me and Kristy are going to talk about how she gets through those things. Maybe I'll talk about some of my theories and we'll go from there. So how's that sound?
Sounds good to me.
All right, let's dive in.
All right,
Kristy,
let's do this.
you are doing so many things along the beach, and you're kind of a humble person, so you don't brag too much, but you're Chamber of Commerce ambassador.
Yes.
You are part of the HBA, and you're very active there, always doing things. I know that you're running a thriving business. I mean, what all are you up to, and how do you have time to do all this?
I don't have the time to do that.
Number one, don't have the time, right?
I really need to work on time management, but you've got time for that. You're building a business.
Yeah.
Yes, I am a chamber ambassador. I love it. I've been doing that for a few years now. I'm also on a chamber committee for Partnership Grand Strand and for the Business Development Committee. So I do a lot with our chamber because it's been great for our business. I mean, just the amount of people I've been able to meet. The home builders, I get the opportunity to serve on the Pet Project Committee, which I think you're going to be taking over, I've been told.
Hey, look, when you're pet lover, sometimes I got volunteered for that.
I think you got voluntold.
Yeah, I did. I got voluntold, but you know what? Like this is how they got me. They said, the group needs you, and it's for pets. And I was like, hey, you got me. Two
and
places.
You know a lot of people.
Yeah, I do know a couple of people here and there. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's such a great thing to get to go out and tell all the wonderful things that the home builder's done for nonprofits in the area, but specifically for Grand Strand Humane Society because they have been facing so many struggles.
Oh, yeah.
And those poor animals, they need a new home.
All you have to do, and I've always said this, sometimes when we see the problem, we want to help. I believe the American people are some of the most generous people that you will ever find.
I agree.
You can see it every time a hurricane comes through. People come out to help, but sometimes when you get detached from it, that's okay. I'm not going to give to this cause. And so that's where I was saying, go in and look at these poor pets. Ever walk through a humane society? Tell me you don't want to give some money and take every dog and cat.
I want them all.
I
want a farm so I can have them all.
Yeah, exactly.
But so with the home builders, I get to help with that project. I also get to do a lot with workforce development, which is great because my passion is letting these kids know, listen, if you want a 4-year degree, that's great, but you don't need it to be successful. Yeah. And so just being able to mentor to them and say, listen, there's going to be a path for you somewhere, some way, and it doesn't have to be at a 4-year university. You can start to work as soon as you graduate high school and be successful.
Absolutely.
While your other kids are, going into debt for a degree they're not even going to use, if we're being honest. I mean,
I agree completely. And the thing is that I love about mentorship is, you go through your life and you remember being the young person in the room, like the youngest person in the room, and you kind of know how that feels. And then you get a little bit more knowledge and a little bit more knowledge, and now you can give it back. And so I love that you're doing that. That's really, really cool. As far as you go, I know, probably don't mind me mentioning, you got a couple of kids that actually are your kids and they're working here. Tell me about how you're getting them involved.
Well, so I had the blessing to homeschool both of them. My 19-year-old, I graduated last year, and then I still have a almost 15-year-old who'll be 15 in March, and he's technically your 9th grader. Yeah. His passion is military. He's wanted to go into the military since he was able to talk. Actually, he saw a tank on TV and he's like, I want to do that. And I'm like, oh Lord, I need to start praying now. So he's changed his branches. He's like, I want to be a tank commander. I want to go into the Air Force. I'm going to fly a fighter jet. I'm like, okay, whatever the Lord wants you to do, then that's going to be, what he wants you to do, and I'm going to be prepped for it. But
that's very cool. By the way,
you're still going to learn a trade.
We talked about how the construction industry needs people, but the military needs people. So hey, that's a win right there.
They do. And I mean, come on, our leadership component is all into the military, right? And I'm like, well, you could go to the Citadel. It's all about leadership. And maybe you go there 4 years and you decide, I don't want to go into the military, but now you've got that degree and you can go and do anything your heart desires.
Right.
But, you know, I'm also making them work in the business.
Well, hey, look, it's a funny thing, you know, there's so many people, you hit so many topics that I want to go back to already. I love this. Let's go into a little bit about the workforce development side of it. Now, these are your kids and you're trying to get them accustomed to working in the business. You know, how do you go about training? Or is it very formal with you, or is it more hands-on, or a combination?
It's hands-on.
Yeah.
I mean, this trade, so our oldest one, he is a tech kid. He is not hands-on. Love him to death, but he's the one that looks at a car and he's like, why are there 3 pedals and not just 2? Like, do you not know what a manual transmission is?
Yeah.
No. Right over his head. Love him to death. Super smart on computers.
Probably not
the most manual.
Yeah.
But then the younger one, he's like, I got this. I mean, he's been driving since he was 4. I kid you not, on a Gator.
Wow.
Back in trailers, he can do it all. But his older brother, no. So it's 2 components that we have to address. Logan, please do my video content creation. Do my social media. Do my photography, because that's your natural bend.
Yeah.
That's more formal, because I'm like, I need you to capture this kind of essence of it. But then with Landon, it's hands-on. Like, okay, you just go and figure it out. It's very just on-the-job kind of stuff.
Man, Kristy, I love that you're talking about this, because one of the things I've been doing lately is I believe our goal as leaders, as managers, as business owners, you want to put the people in the place where they can use their God-given talents. And I use the term, you know, whether you believe in God or not, we all have our given talents that we're born with. And the thing is that why would you fight the current to try to be good at something that you're not naturally good at when you can be the best in the world at something else?
Correct.
That's very cool. And she got it with her 2 kids. Plus, she can tell them to make their bed in the morning and really,
You're just going to get back in it later in the day.
Right. Yeah, there you go. Awesome. So, all right. So you talked about your business owner. Now, again, you're running a thriving business. I've seen you guys from the get-go. And we all know the life of a business owner can be up and down, you know. But you've gotten yourself out in the community. Tell me, like, kind of how that has affected your business, this ambassador work you do and all these things. Like, how has that helped you grow?
Well, people know us, right? I mean, you start a business and people are like, Palmetto Protection Films who? Like, what do you know about window tint? You just started your business. And like, well, then you have to go and explain, well, my husband actually started doing this at 18, you know? Like, he's been doing this for 20 some years. We may have just started ours during COVID, but we kind of know a thing or two about a thing or two.
Right.
You know, so, you know, that's when I started being an ambassador, and I got to meet all these wonderful people, and I got to explain to them what I do. But on the flip side, I got to learn what they do and how I can help connect them. People call me the connector, and I consider that a blessing, because all I want to do is connect people and let them be successful. Like, that's my passion with the business. I wanted to be able to give back to the community that's building our business. What better way to do that than through networking and being able to say, I've got a person for that. Hey, you need promotional items? I can connect you with my people. Like, hey, you need a porch enclosure? I got a person.
You know, the most amazing thing you're saying, I wish everybody could grasp the giver's gain mentality, because if you did, you would realize that for all of the sales training we go to, for all the marketing concepts, at the end of the day, this is about relationships.
1,000%.
You know, I refer somebody, they appreciate that. The next time, maybe they refer me, and you don't do it. I believe that if you're doing it from a leadership aspect, you're not doing it for that return.
Right.
But that's what happens anyway, so it doesn't matter. Very cool. So you've been a ambassador for how long with the chamber?
I think 3 or 4 years now.
Now, how much? What's that entail? Do you have to go into a lot of businesses, or what's that like?
Well, I choose to go into a lot of businesses. There are myself and a few other ladies. We have probably about 50 ambassadors per person, and we try and go at least once every other month and visit our investors and just take them a little bag with some goodies and to thank them for being a part of the chamber. It's a way to get out to make sure that they've got the right contact information coming into the chamber, that they're getting our weekly emails with all the events going on, that, you know, we can learn more about their business and just find a way to help support them to be successful in our community.
Man, I will say one thing about our local Chamber of Commerce at the Myrtle Beach. It is phenomenal, and you particularly do a great job, because she's actually my ambassador, so there's that. but no, you guys
get my emails.
Yeah, I do. I get an email or 2 or 20 a week or whatever. No, I'm just kidding. So we got Home Show coming up.
Yeah.
And, oh yeah, man, this is like a big time in the industry.
Super exciting.
And it is exciting. You were telling me that you usually like to try to make your booth a little special for the year. So what kind of stuff are you doing this year?
Well, so we're bringing in the spinning wheel, and I'm super excited. I've always wanted one of those.
The one where you just like,
You come and you spin it, you're going to get some prize.
Is there anything bad on the wheel? I do want to know that. There's nothing bad?
Ooh, maybe we should do a dunk tape.
You should. You got to have a bad one, because I've done the spinning wheel before where they spin it.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh man, I hope you guys don't get the push-ups challenge. And you'll see these people look at me like, are you serious? I'm like, oh yeah, I'm dead serious.
You know what we could do is we could have them try and tin a window, which they're totally going to fail at, but that would be awesome.
See, now this is where the mind of a marketing person right here. Yeah.
Oh, yes, that's great. Thanks for that idea.
Yeah, and then when they tin it, you rate them. You have to rate them. And
let me see your cuts. That's what I want to say. Oh, I can tin a window.
I might.
Come on, let's do this.
I don't think I've ever. I've tinted my own windows at home, but they never come out right. That's why you need a professional. I might have to come take a spin on that wheel.
You've got my brain going right now.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, what am I going to do?
Well, so let's talk about that real quick. We're talking, and this is going to come up. People see this before the home show. So it's February 21st, 22nd, 23rd, Myrtle Beach Convention Center. If you're in Myrtle Beach, if you're visiting Myrtle Beach, come down, check out Kristy Yelle, Palmetto Protection Films. Come check out Rob Clemens. I'll be at the Carolina Bays booth. We'll be doing some leader mentality, good stuff. But anyway, I interrupted you. What else do you got going on there?
Well, so our mascot is a German Shepherd. He's our puppy. His name is Cobalt, like our cobalt blue color.
Now, do you actually have a puppy at home?
Oh yeah.
Named Cobalt? Okay, cool.
Oh yeah, no, he's literally our mascot. So this year, there will be a guest in our mascot uniform.
Okay.
I'm thinking he might work for us and be voluntold, But
I need to train this person, because there's a very specific mascot set of duties. There's a little dancing going on. I'm hoping he's ready.
Oh, he's already a mascot for a couple of other places around here.
Oh, well, good.
Oh, he's professional. He's like, I need my work belt on so I can show myself tinting the windows as the German Shepherd.
See, I mean,
he's got ideas.
That's next level. Okay, you're gonna be all right there.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be good.
Oh, cool.
But the Saturday of the home show, because we have a lot of kids come out, and we're gonna have a face painter at our booth. That way, the kids have something to do. We're gonna give them blue ring pops. I mean, who doesn't want a blue ring pop?
Yeah, you can't go wrong.
Bubble ones, like
right.
Everything's got to be blue though, because I'm all about my brand.
Well, hey, you heard it here first. I mean, blue shirt, blue everything. Hey, it's all. I believe you're talking about something really important. I hear so many businesses say, I'm a new business. You mentioned Partnership Grand Strand. This is it's an offshoot of the Chamber of Commerce, isn't it?
It is a part of the Chamber, yes.
And so their whole goal is to help young businesses learn how to do it. And that's one of the things, you have to be memorable. You can't be doing the same thing as everybody else and expect to stand out. So these little tricks you're doing, they play a role, right?
They do. I mean, it's funny when I walk into a room and I'm not wearing blue, it's instantly noticed. You're wearing pink? Why are you wearing? I said, well, it was Breast Cancer Awareness Month, y'all. I gotta support. But you're always in blue. I'm like, I know.
It's an identity crisis for everybody. Are you one of the ones that have the little Palmetto Protection Film shoes?
Yes,
do you have those?
I do.
I got Carolina Bays shoes. We're going to compare next time. Well, we look forward to seeing you at the home show.
Can't wait.
Have some fun with that. Everybody come on down. Well, Kristy, as I like to do on the show, it's important to me to see people in leadership positions who have, gone through the goods, the bads, but I always like to hear how you got here, because I've found more often than not, the person that is 15 years old and have decided what they want to do for their career, they're far and in between,
Yeah.
So what did your role look like coming up to being an owner here at Palmetto Protection Films?
I can tell you with 1,000% certainty, I never thought I'd be a window tint business owner.
You weren't, so you're telling me you weren't like, 5 years old trying to tint something?
I never thought I would be dealing plastics.
No.
It was not on my radar at all. I thought I was just going to be a stay-at-home mom.
Oh, okay. Hey, you know what? That would have been, beautiful job.
It was great.
It's an important job, but you wouldn't be doing something you're great at.
I did get that for a brief moment in time, and it was wonderful.
Yeah.
But my husband, when I met him, he started doing this at the age of 18, and he fell in love with it. And he did it for quite a while, and then the '08 recession happened.
Yeah.
We were living in Conway, had a new baby, and we're like, okay, what are you going to do for a job? Because the business he was working for, he was a retired veteran, and he just wanted to close up and just enjoy retirement.
Yeah.
Well, thankfully, a job with Food Lion Management fell in his lap, but it moved us to Hilton Head Island for 3 years. Which is great. You know, we got to go to another part of the South Carolina coast. It's beautiful there.
And a nice place. They didn't put you somewhere
we
lousy.
We were in a good spot for sure. But, you know, Matt did management for Food Lion for 10 years, and he was miserable every day of his life. He was stuck indoors. It was retail. You know, it was just not his passion. He got great management experience with it, but it just was not fulfilling.
Yeah.
And in 2018, the opportunity came for us to move back here and help a window tinting company down the road. And you know, when they say friends shouldn't work for friends, yeah, that was not the best idea.
Hey, that's a tip in itself. That's a whole show. If you think somebody's your friend, it doesn't mean you guys are going to be very good in business together. I'm with you.
Yeah. Cautionary tale, trust me. But then, you know what? COVID happened.
Yeah.
We all remember COVID.
Yeah. We're trying to forget it, but it's still there. Yeah.
So COVID happened and the shutdowns, and, you know, it was just a really toxic environment that Matt was working in. And I was like, you know, if you go back, I think the kids and I are going to go back to North Carolina with my family because it's just not a good experience for any of us right now. And he was like, well, I guess I won't go back. And I was like, well, you know what? You know how to tent. I'll figure out how to run a business. I don't know what I'm doing, but we'll figure it out. And Palmetto Protection Films was born.
Wow. I mean, it's amazing that it happened like that. And I want to jump back to the Matt story real quick. You know, you said, he was miserable working that job, and it didn't bring him passion. And the most important part of this is it really wasn't about the job. It was about his passion. And sometimes, like, there may be somebody who's like, I love doing my job over at Food Lion, for example. But if it's not your passion, I think that there's always going to be a disconnect. You might make lots of money. You might even get lots of vacation time. You might have some prestige. But if you don't have a passion for that job, it will usually lead you to happiness. And so to me, there's a powerful lesson in that. And sometimes we think we want something. We find out later that's not for us. So you find yourself in a very stressful environment. And, you know, I think anybody can relate with that. You started Palmetto Protection Films. He had a little background. You'd never done a business. What did you think you were most scared about at that time? Because there had to be something that you're like, this is a little nerve-wracking.
Making ends meet. I mean, we're stepping out on our own. We don't know anybody in this area besides the friends that we had, you know, and it's like, well, now we're starting this new business, but how are people going to find out about us? You know, we know what we're doing with a window tint, but how do we get people to know, like, and trust us? And so that was the scariest part. I mean, we had a home, we had 2 kids, and now we're stepping out on this venture when the world is essentially shut down. How are we going to do this? And surprisingly enough, the Lord works in mysterious ways, and it just skyrocketed.
It's amazing. You know, one of the things, and I'll tell this to young entrepreneurs, is it's terrifying.
It is.
I don't care, you know, who you are, and we all start off with the best laid plan, but we hear time and time again that businesses fail all the time. And it's usually within 5 years, even though you had this great plan. And it's terrifying. I remember when I first started my own business, and so I worked for other people for years and helped other people make money. And when I went off on my own, this was my feeling. I felt like, I remember somebody asking me at a marketing meeting, they said, what are your goals for the year? And at that point, I had recently started my business. And I told them, I said, my goal is to never feel like I need to go back and work for somebody else again because I'm scared right now, you know, because in your mind, you're thinking, you know, I have the talent, I have the ability, I know all this stuff, but what if it doesn't work out? Well, I can always go get a job somewhere. And I said, that's my goal for the year. I got to get that away, you know?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
And I'm the visionary with our business. And Matt's more the integrator. He's on the day-to-day.
Okay.
Like, how are we going to get through this? Where I'm like, I'm looking 5, 10, 20 years down the road. Like, what's our exit plan looking like?
Dude, hey, look, you just mentioned that. Was that a Rocket Fuel? Was that the book Rocket Fuel?
So it's actually Traction is before Rocket Fuel. Same authors.
Yeah, very cool. No, very good book. I love it that you talk about visionaries and integrators. If you're a visionary, it's hard to do it without an integrator.
Correct.
And if you're an integrator, you definitely need a visionary.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, so you're the visionary.
I totally. And Matt's like, you are always thinking about the future. It drives me crazy. I'm like, I I got to. We got to like know where we're headed, man.
The thing about integrators is they're usually so literal. So, you're sitting here thinking about this home show for probably 3 months before it even comes. Right?
I was thinking about the home show at the last home show in the fall. Like, oh, how can I make my booth better?
Same. I'm looking around. I'm like, what can we do?
But let me get that idea.
That's such a visionary thing. And then Matt's like, hey, when we get there, this needs to be just right, however it is, and there you go.
He's just like, can we get through today? Like, I got this install to do. I got to figure out how to do that.
Man, you make me wonder. So you guys and your husband-wife duo,
yes.
That works out well. Did you find that one kid took after you and one kid took after Matt, or yeah? Guys hit a hot button here.
Yes. Yeah, Logan is definitely more like his mother, and Landon has the attitude of his mother, but he's very common sense like his dad.
Man, well, I'll tell you, both outgoing kids.
Yes,
you got good representatives of the company. Well, so you guys got here and you really started to establish yourself. Mm-hmm. Once the business got established, how did you adjust over that next year period, for example? So I'm going to say at the point that you knew Palmetto Protection Films is here to stay, you've got a following, what was your next step that you knew you needed to do as a business?
Oh, goodness. That first year that we started, it was, slow. We didn't make a lot of money. The next year, I poured everything that I had. Because at the time, I was a bookkeeper for a lady out of Charleston, so I was able to work remote. It was great. But I had to step away from that to really focus on our business because I wanted to see it succeed. Once I stepped away, our business grew that next year in 2021 by 1,300%.
Ooh, 1,300?
1,300%.
Oh, gosh.
But that's because I was out networking. I was out meeting people, and I was doing everything that I could on the back end to support Matthew going out there and doing the sales and the installations. Yeah.
Well, one of the things that you mentioned that I think is so important is this helps you grow your business. And I think that a lot of times, like you get so busy that now you're like, well, I don't really have time to go to that networking event. I don't have time to do that. It's like, that's what got you here.
You better not have been there.
Yeah. Cool deal. Well, so then you found really quickly, like, you had to kind of get to that point where you're connecting all the dots. What about like from a growth perspective? I mean, ultimately you start realizing you need more and more employees.
Yes.
How do you build your culture from there,
Well, you know what? We're still navigating through that.
Yeah.
We thought that we had it, and then it's like, oh no, it's got to be fine-tuned, because we're really trying to define what is our core focus with the business and what's our true niche. We can do lots of things.
Yeah.
But then you're not really a specialist in anything. And just because you can do it doesn't mean you're going to be the best at it.
Absolutely.
And everything that we do, we want to be the best at it. We want to be the most knowledgeable. We want to be the most professional. And we want to make sure that from the beginning, initial phone call to our business to the post follow-up installation, you're getting this customer experience that is just something extraordinary that you don't usually receive.
Man, dude, it's amazing. And I love that. And if you continue to do that, you will only grow.
Exactly.
But so let's talk about something that I think is a challenge for everybody. And we talked about this a little bit before the show. And I want to talk to you a little bit about how you deal with adversity in a business, because I feel like what you just said is very relevant. Hey, one of the reasons we succeed is people see our professionality.
Yes.
People see that we're providing that good service. But you lay out all these plans, and the best laid plans, as you know, sometimes they get thrown right on the air. I'll say sometimes I'll plan something for 4 or 5 hours in the morning, and then by the time I get into it, it's already blown up an hour in. How do you navigate those waters?
So, do you watch Friends by any chance?
I've seen it. My wife is a big fan.
For the episode with pivot. That's the word.
Yeah.
Pivot.
Pivot. Okay, I dig it.
You're going to get stuff thrown at you, and you're just like, all right, we're just going to have to figure this out.
Yeah.
You can't curl up in a ball and cry and just shut down. You just got to figure it out. Okay, this unexpected bill comes. Oh my goodness, we had this issue with the window. Now we're going to have to pay to replace the window, which, it happens. Occasionally a window is going to break. Is it because it's the wrong film? Usually not. It could just be there was already a crack starting, and guess what? You put pressure on it.
Yeah.
Now we got to take care of the customer, because that's what we do.
That's a good point. Yeah.
But you got to figure that stuff out. It's the unexpected curveballs that are going to come your way. Every day is not going to be a cakewalk. As business owners, it is never a cakewalk, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
It's always going to be something.
It's pretty much always the opposite of a cakewalk,
100%, yeah. There's going to be your sleepless nights and your, constant stress, and you're waking up in the middle of the night. Oh, I got to write that down.
This has been Why Not to Get in Business. Well, Rob and Kristy, no, it's rewarding.
No, it is rewarding.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I've never had the opportunity to go out and volunteer the way I wanted to volunteer, or be able to financially give back to the things that were so important to me. I mean, we lived on one income, and it was not the biggest income, right?
Yeah.
So I volunteered a lot with my church, but I wasn't able to monetarily do the things I wanted to do. Now we've got this business, and it's like, okay, now I can afford to give to this nonprofit, or I can afford to support this initiative because it's important to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
well, that's, and I feel like that sometimes when you're going just as tight as you can early on, and then it opens up a little bit. You got to continue to thrive and grow. Is there? You mentioned Traction. You're a book reader, yeah? I
love reading books.
Throw me a book that's kind of made a difference to you other than Traction, because I know Traction's a really good one, but
Profit First.
Okay.
I never, and when we are business owners, we're always looking at the P&L, right? Oh, money in, money out. This is what we got left over.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Profit First revolutionized the way I think now. So you have, your income. Then you take that income and you put it into the operating expense account. You put it into the owner's comp account. You put it into the tax account because, taxes. So you have all these different accounts where you go ahead. Once that money comes in, you instantly disperse it.
Yeah.
So that you're not robbing Peter to pay Paul when this unexpected bill comes up, right? Mm-hmm. Game changer.
Really?
I recommend everybody read it.
I love it. I'll check this out. I'm a reader as well. That's another lesson for business owners. And I knew one business owner one time that, he would do that. I don't know if he intentionally did or not, but he would rob Peter to pay Paul. Yeah. And the thing is that I believe great business ownership means that you're good stewards of your client's money.
Exactly.
Do you feel what I'm saying? So I feel like if somebody says, hey, Kristy, hey, Rob, here's some money, and I'm looking forward to having you do my services. Well, that's your money still.
Yes.
It's not mine. So I start looking at it and saying, where is that money going? And sometimes we'll make the mistake, I shouldn't say we, but I mean business owners make the mistake of saying, oh, wow, I just got a $500 from this person. It's like, well, yeah, but what's your profit margin on that? Maybe 20%. So maybe $100 of that you got, maybe to play with. And I would recommend you don't use that either yet. You never know when an overrun's going to happen. But I think that's a powerful lesson. And so I appreciate you sharing that.
I love it.
Well, so when you're trying to get, before I get to this, you're having a bad day. Let's say you're having a bad day. The world's on your shoulders. Customer calls up. Thank you for calling Palmetto Protection Films. Like, how do you get in that game face,
The customer's always first.
Yeah, okay, all right.
You just got to put on that little happy voice.
Yeah.
And then you just got to power through and figure it out.
Yeah, just power through.
I mean, now, if you walked into my office, which is a disaster because it's always a mess, but, occasionally if something happens, you'll see me on my desk doing this. Sometimes I just have to get the frustrations out. I'm just going to be honest. I'll beat my head.
And I know exactly how this looks. Bang, bang, bang. Thanks for calling Palmetto Protection Films. How can I?
That's the way it looks. My kids call me out on it all the time.
Yeah. Well, and who better to call you out than your kids, of course. That's a great one. All right. So I was going to go in one direction. All right. So now we've taken people through the business life of you, from what your philosophies are, how you started, dealing with adversity, and I always believe in that. It's a big key. So on the dealing with adversity, what's something you do to unwind when you just need to, occasionally you do need some time just to get yourself back on center. What do you do?
I like classic rock.
Classic rock, okay.
That's my favorite. And I just need to go look at nature. I need to be out either looking at the marsh or looking at the ocean and remembering why we're here and why we work so hard and sacrifice the way that we do to live in this beautiful area.
Yeah, I love that. That's really cool. I also hear that once in a while you like to dabble in conspiracy theories.
Oh yeah, I like my conspiracy theories.
I'm going to give you an easy one. All right, so the pyramids. Give me a top 3 list of how you think those things were built.
I don't really have a top 3. I have a number 1.
Oh, she got a 1. It's just the thing that happened. Let her.
I believe in Nephilim. I believe it was the Nephilim.
Going back to the biblical Nephilim. These were the, okay. Mm-hmm. So they were here, they were like lifting those big stones.
Yeah, I don't really believe that there were aliens. I'm sorry. And I don't believe in the portals and all that kind of stuff.
No, well, the thing that always gets me about them is usually if you do have a non-Nephilim explanation, they talk about, well, there's water and there's ramps, and you're going, some of these stones were 100,000 pound stones. Yeah. It's not like, almost nothing makes sense.
I mean, could you see people people trying to build that now without the technology that we have available? Absolutely not.
It's crazy, and some of the precision.
It was amazing. Totally supernatural in my humble opinion, but
I'm going to try to hit Kristy up on doing a conspiracy theory podcast, of which I would love to be a guest.
I love my rabbit trails. Y'all are going to think I'm crazy.
Oh, that's very cool stuff. All right, so Kristy, we got home show coming up.
Yes.
You got some ribbon cuttings. You'll be at the, this might air after it, but the Business Expo
Member
tonight.
Expo tonight.
Okay, got you. So that's a chamber.
Yes.
Doing anything fun with that?
No. Home show is taking over my fun.
I was going to say it's going to be a brochure and
listen, this is what we do. This is who we are, and we would love to take care of you.
But
here's some free stuff.
But come to the home show if you want to get the free. All right, so Kristy, how can people find out more about you and Palmetto Protection Films?
All right, so you can go visit our webpage. It's palmettoprotectionfilms.com, but for a shorter way to get there, you can simply type in PPF Tent. Super easy. It'll take you to our main webpage. You can learn more about us there. Our phone number happens to be 843-825-TENT. So hopefully you can remember that one. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on social media, LinkedIn, you name it, we're out there. And our address, if you want to come by the office and visit us, is 240 Industrial Way. We are in Unit D, and that's centrally located in Myrtle Beach. Very
nice. You can tell she's done it one or two times before. Telling them. Do you ever have to tell people Tint is spelled T-I-N-T?
Oh my goodness, yes. And if you go on there and you're looking for Tint, T-E-N-T, I'm like, yeah, you're not our client.
Yeah,
you're not. Right.
Everybody's a good client except for you if you do that.
Please know how to spell the words you're trying to do.
Right. All right. Well, Kristy, been great having you on the show. And I can tell you, I've been a client. I've taken vehicles here. You guys do an amazing job. So truly appreciate it. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And for you guys listening at home, I hope you learned something today. We took you through a life of a business owner who's doing very well. But just remember, there's always going to be ups and downs in your journey, both in business and in life. Don't let the lows get you too low, and don't get the highs too high. Realize that you got to set that long-term goal, have perseverance, learn to pivot, and just be your best self, help somebody else. Nothing can be better than that. And with that, I'll leave you all off with that theory. Rob Clemens, Leader Mentality Show. We'll catch you guys next time.